The threshold, where boys and men begin. Hello, everyone. This is Luna Ora. So this is a topic I wanted to do for a while, just been very busy. As some of you may have seen this week, I finally released the news. The threshold is open. This is the first men's retreat led by a woman, myself, and this is going to change the world. I promise you that. The work that I do with men in this specific retreat, there's only spots for 20 men. It's happening in September in North Carolina. So get your spot now. You're going to have to do an interview with me. The interview is free. You go to our website, thetruebrothers.com, and fill up the form as detailed as you can so that we can get back to you, because we are screening the men for this retreat. You can also go to motherisrising.com, go to the threshold, and you'll find the link over there. So today we're going to talk about energy vampires, warlocks, and the feminine power that they fear. This is an intense topic, okay? I mean, as usual, on this channel, we talk about things that no one else talks about, as you know me. So why I wanted to make this video, this is actually inspired by a beautiful sister of mine. I got a message from her a few months ago. She had an experience with a very dark warlock who tried to control her. So I wanted to make this video because it's very important for women to be aware of and talk about. And I use the word warlock. You can maybe use other words if you want to use, a dark entity or whatever. I'm going to use different words here, but it's more of a feeling. The words are just for us to have the conversation. Most women really know what I'm talking about because of the feeling that they get from specific men. So again, this is going to be a powerful, intense, and maybe a little crazy video, and it's going to be very detailed. So stay tuned if you really want to go down this rabbit hole. I will explain what men energy vampires and warlocks are and offer ways to deal with them. And before I do, I want to say something. Negative entities, I talk about them all the time, as you know, on this channel, and dark forces and things like that, often work through low frequency people. So because and many of these low frequency people, if not all, I mean, I can very comfortably say all, display narcissistic traits. The narcissist becomes a conduit, so-called a vessel, through which these entities can attack beings of light, people who are here to serve others, empaths. We can call them empaths too, or light workers, right? These devoted to helping humanity. This is not random, this is targeted. And again, why? Because light beings are here to serve others. Narcissists and dark entities are only want to serve themselves. And so this is the very basic, difference between them. Men are most unconscious of it, and men are actually the easiest conduits for dark entities. They're easiest conduits than women. I spoke about this many times. This is not to offend men. This is just the way our bodies are, the way our consciousness are. Women have a womb. We are more connected to source, to the great mother. We are less easily susceptible to demonic entities. I am not saying that women are not. Trust me, I have seen many of them. Many toxic women. I am just saying that generally men are a more easily susceptible vessel to demonic entities. And this is why I am so called to work with men now also, because I want to raise their frequency so that they can be free and liberated and really walk as the true powerhouse that they are. So again, men are mostly unconscious of it when they are hosted by a dark entity, but they harvest women's energy because most men are not in their divine masculine, obviously. They are not givers, as their nature is. The nature of the divine masculine is to give. But these men are takers, and this is actually very similar to the shadow feminine. I recently did a video about how most men are actually they're not only not in their divine masculine, but they're in their shadow feminine. They're in their dark feminine energy. Not dark in a good way, but the shadow in a bad way. The feminine is the receiver, right? The divine feminine receives and transmutes, and then she gives everything back. But the shadow feminine takes and she manipulates. And this is the energy that most men on the planet are actually operating from. So they harvest, take, steals women's life force, use women to become powerful and successful without even liking or honoring women. Some men today are vampires and warlocks. Consciously, they are aware that they are. Most men are not aware that they are used by a vampire or a warlock or a demonic entity or whatever you want to call it. So as the mother is rising right now, right? My school is called Mother is Rising for 15 years because of this reason, because the mother is rising. Much more dark entities are here because we have so much more light beings coming up. The law of polarity of the universe explains and says that, if we have that many light beings, there has to be that many dark shadow beings. So they're flooding our world. Let me say, they're everywhere. I can see them, and I'm telling you, they're everywhere. It's insane. They're playing out. Again, they're playing out through humans in many different ways. As the divine feminine heals and rises, many dark entities like warlocks will do anything to target many of the most powerful magical women, because these women are here on such an important mission to help the awakening and the rising of humanity back into truth, and to guide humans back to the womb of the mother, as I like to call her, which is also my life's mission as well. These men will manipulate and even try to plant ideas and seeds in women to harness and use women's life force, which are the creators. Women are the creators. This all started with the dark wizards. Solomon, as I write about in my book, The Last Priestess, when this toxic masculine system began, women began to be slaves and to be used in endless ways. Ever since Solomon and the Dark Wizards began, they have used baneful black magic, inverted magic from the temple of the priestesses against humans. But they can only control men, not women, and they harness women's work. That is why our known history is full of endless torturous ways to silence and disempower women. They can activate women of power. We use it to awaken and bring them down to save humanity. The Dark Wizards have been trying not only to use women to birth their programs, but also to change human DNA, and they have succeeded in many ways. But we are still free and can liberate ourselves. We have been blaming women for bad and evil witchcraft, but women are the keepers of light and true magic. Men have been using magic unnaturally and in the inverted, dark, evil way with less power, but more manipulation, because women are the keepers of the womb and true magic. For example, women were the priestesses when the world was in the higher frequency and humans lived in a sacred way, which we do not have in our history books anymore. That was erased. But when bad men decided to steal and harness women's power and use it against humanity, they didn't use their own power because they don't have it. So they took it, stole it, and inverted it from women. Today, many men use baneful magic, ceremonial magic against women, knowingly and some unknowingly. Men who hate women and are so jealous of their power find that this wound and fear of the feminine brings them to a place of darkness. Now, I want to be clear. Men are capable of practicing magic, but not like women. Masculine magic is very different than feminine magic. The masculine magic has a different system and way. The feminine is natural, more natural in the moment, feeling emotion, being with nature, with life itself, being present with life, listening to life. The masculine is very formed, rigid system that mostly goes against nature. It has more rules and you have to follow the rules, right? It's a completely different system. It is known as ceremonial magic in our society, which has, again, rules, unlike feminine magic, which flows with nature of the moment, emotions, and life, and also the sacred way. Although, unfortunately, like I said, there are women who use it in a baneful way. We do not accept these women. That's not okay. Masculine magic requires a sacrifice, and many use blood taken by force, right? Because women have blood coming through us every month. Naturally, it's the blood of life. It's a blood that flows naturally. And that is the offering we give to the mother, to the world, to life itself. Men don't have that. And so they take. And so that's why you see in ceremonial magic, usually you will have a blood sacrifice. You will take the life from someone else, either an animal, a child, or a woman. So usually they're not going to use men because, again, men are not strong vessels with life force. Women are the life force. Children hold the essence, the purest essence of imagination, which is very needed for magic. And animals are just the purest form of life over there. So they're usually going to use, unfortunately, the blood of that. So, So it's blood, again, blood taken by force, like the dark wizards, which I call them the dark wizards in my books and in my videos. Those of you who follow me know that. Magic doesn't require, so the dark wizards who destroy the world and enslaved humanity. And that's how they enslaved humanity, by the way. If you read my book, The Last Priestess, I tell the story, the memory of my last days in the temple, how the temple fell, how Solomon was actually not a good guy at all, how Solomon actually harnessed the energy of the priestesses and started controlling this world and this dimension and other dimensions as well, and completely manipulated humanity. I don't necessarily think that, I don't need you to believe the story as real, but I need you to read that story and let it awaken the codes of truth inside of you, because it will awaken the truth inside of you if you allow it, okay? All of our history books, his story, that's what history is. History is just his story. History is changed all the time. We do not actually know our real history. It's been hidden from us. It's been manipulated and distorted. And now truth is coming up, though. Truth is here. Those who want to find the truth and see the truth, they will find it. So let me continue. While feminine magic doesn't require sacrifice, for the woman herself is the offering. I am the woman. The womb is the actual offering. That's why magic work should only be done by women. And I'm not ashamed to say this. Again, this is not to shame men. This is just how our nature works. Men have a different role when they're in their divine masculine energy, which we need that role. Like, we need men to be in their power, absolute, real, true power, not the fake version of power of like we see today in the patriarchy, incel, all the bullshit. So this is another reason why the dark wizards and systems of patriarchy have been trying to suppress women's emotions since day one. But they can never actually do that completely. Women hold the creation power, not men. God is a woman, not a man. Source is feminine. Source is she. We women are life. You cannot destroy life unless you want to destroy yourself as well. That's just the nature of it. And even if you want to destroy all women in the world, you destroy yourself, you can still not destroy the mother. You can still not destroy the feminine, because the feminine is life itself, and life will always go on with or without you. Now, the feminine, again, is life, while the masculine is death. And again, this is a deep esoteric meaning. I'm not just saying men are death in the sense of dying and stuff like that. I speak about this more in my books and things. I want you to hear the esoteric meaning here, and not women are good, men are bad. This is not it. This is not what I'm saying at all. Women are the unconscious, men are the consciousness, right? Women are the darkness, not darkness in a bad way. Men are light, consciousness, channel. Women are vessel, darkness, subconscious, life. So the feminine is the subconscious, masculine is consciousness. The subconscious is the true force of creation. That's where life begins. That's where life is. The womb is the most powerful source in this universe. And the womb is dark, right? The womb is like this pure, endless darkness where life comes from. A woman who actually knows her power is connected to her cycles, the sacred blood, her womb, has strong sisterhood, and knows her magic is literally untouchable, even by the darkest forces. And I can tell you myself, I have been hunted by the dark forces since I can remember. And they can come in many, many different forms. And again, I talk about this in other videos. Let's continue with this one and focus on it. A divine man can tap into his own source energy and draw energy from source itself. But a man who is an energy vampire will harness and take energy from people, mainly women. Energy vampires are real, and those of us who have dealt with them, and there are many of us, know this. A man in his divine power wants to give. He is a channel who gives energy to the feminine and to the world. He doesn't take, ever. That is nature. So a male energy vampire literally goes against his own nature and destroys his own power in the process of taking. Men in their divinity give. Women in their divinity receive. That's it. We are having a crisis in divine masculinity because men were taught and programmed to harvest energy from women and not how to be initiated into their true power and harness energy from their hearts and source. Most men are programmed to believe that the more sexual partners they have, the more powerful they are and the more value they have as a man, while shaming women for doing the same. It is a distortion of the truth and nature of the masculine and feminine, and any inversion, as I teach, is black magic. So men seek more women to conquer and penetrate so they can take from them, mostly unknowingly, but most also very, very knowingly. But many times the true energy vampires do it consciously. With intention, these men want to destroy the feminine on many levels, to hurt her, to diminish her, and to cause ripple effects and trauma in women and in the collective. Now let's talk about the men who are using sex magic on women in attempts to lure them, seduce them, and in many cases hurt and harness their life force. I have met many men like this in my life, and this happens on many layers and levels. Some men just try but gain no real power and hurt themselves at the end. And a few manage to gain some sort of power for various reasons and can lure women, but it will always cost them at the end, while the women will not be harmed at the end. Let me explain. A man can never hurt a woman energetically. Yes, I said it. He can hurt her physically, and he can hurt her mentally, emotionally. But the realm of magic and energy belongs to women and always will be. No patriarchy will change that. And no toxic man can change that, no matter how many blood sacrifices he performs or how strong his will is or how he tries to destroy her. The womb is the most powerful source in this universe. Some men will harvest energy and just take and take and take. And some will siphon, meaning they will create a situation where they give the woman something of value and keep taking her life force. Feminine energy is an amplifier and will expand anything you give to it. So these men know that they will get more if they also feed her something. These usually are men who have a little bit more, a tiny little bit more awareness of what they're doing. This is why when a divine masculine man creates the safest, softest, and most abundant life for his woman, and she's relaxed and comfortable and safe, he will be the richest man ever. If he truly loves this woman, of course, that's going to be the case. When you feed your woman and literally take care of all her physical needs and emotional needs, you will get endless natural magic in return from her just because of her loving you. That's natural law. Some men know this, and if you are a good man who truly wants to love your woman, you will expand everything you have 10 times fold. Men who don't care about the women in their lives and just siphon energy from them by arguing, being unsafe, defending themselves, and making her feel shame, stress, and worry and anxiety may take her energy, but at the end, it will deplete them, the men, completely, and these men will remain with nothing at the end, and they will remain alone. These warlocks use energy from women to manifest what they want because they have no magic power of their own. Even the elites who perform child sacrifice, as I always explain, always need women and children because they have no power of their own. The darkness must take from the light. It has no light of its own. All right, now I want to talk about warlocks specifically. So, who are they and how do they operate? Let's call them, we're going to call them what they are, warlocks. The word, I don't want you to pay attention too much to the word right now. I want you to be with the feeling of what I'm describing of what a warlock is. These men perform. They're performers, okay? They are great actors and they can mask themselves with kindness, nobility, and even spirituality. And they can seem very wise also sometimes. These men are masters of facade. They will not call themselves witches or warlocks. And as I said, most don't even know that they are that. But glamour magic is done mostly by men in our society, not women actually. And it's blamed on women, but it's actually done mostly by men in our patriarchal system. Most of the men who are controlling our world, by the way, in entertainment, in Hollywood, in media, in politics, they use glamour magic. I promise you that. And again, with blood sacrifice. which we're not going to get into that right now, but a side note. They will usually be handsome or appear to be handsome. A lot of them are actually not handsome at all, but they just appear to be it because, again, glamour magic, until the spell is broken and they are seen as the creatures that they truly are. They're seen as, you can actually see them. I'm sure many women know what I'm talking about. You've met this guy. He's very attractive, very beautiful. And then when a spell is done, he looks like a fucking monster. So this is an example. We've all been there. I have seen many times how a woman goes through like hell in her life. And since I was a kid, since I was a child, I've always observed what's happening to men and women all around me. And I knew that it was a man causing it to her energetically. You could see when a man takes and sucks away a woman's life force. She changes inside and out. Now, many of these men don't even know that they're using magic on a woman and don't have to perform like a conscious spell or anything like that. It's not like they're having an altar and doing a spell. They don't have to do that mostly. They just need to have a strong enough sexual energy and hate towards her or towards the feminine in large or women, and want to control her so much that if he gets her in a moment she's vulnerable, that can be enough. And again, I said this before. Men who have lower frequency, they become conduits. So a warlock can enter a man like that and use this man and work through this man. But it's not that the man is like innocent. The man is, you cannot attract a dark being to work through you if you're not aligned with this dark being. Okay, so, that's why when men come to work with me, you cannot drink alcohol. You cannot watch porn. You cannot eat animals. You have to raise your fucking frequency, because we want to, first of all, cleanse you energetically, physically. You cannot do the actual shadow inner work if you're full of fucking demonic entities. And this is I'm telling you guys, this is like the pain of my fucking being, to see wonderful men stuck in loops because they will not purify themselves and they will not elevate their frequency. I cannot do anything at that point. I can't help him because he can't help himself. He does not, if he wants to keep drinking, he wants to keep eating a steak every night, I can't do anything about it, because he's going to be aligned with lower frequency. Call it entities, call it whatever you want, energies, it doesn't matter. It's real. And if we don't understand that magic and other dimensions and entities are real, we cannot liberate ourselves from it, and we cannot be sovereign and empowered. So, and in turn, obviously, we can't live our life's mission. We can't be healthy. We can't be fully happy and satisfied. We can't have a true sacred union with our partner. It's all coming together. So, as I said, a man cannot affect a woman's energy. So how can that be, you ask? Okay, a woman is not aware of her own shadow, and let's say a woman, she's not aware of her own shadow and programs, she will be a slave to them like any other human. Like, men and women are the same in that. And when a warlock or a dark energy wants to take or cause chaos for a woman and harness her light, he will confuse her emotionally and sexually, and in doing so will manage to get under her skin, so to speak, and cause chaos in her energy field, which will also help him manipulate her mind and emotions. And again, this can be done very much through sex. That's why you have to be careful who you have sex with, and don't go into bed really quickly with everyone. As I said for so many years, I keep telling you people, all warlocks are narcissists, although not all narcissists are warlocks. All right. I just want to make this clear. And I'm going to get back to explaining how a man can affect a woman's energy, but not really. And again, this is so deep. I write about it in my books, and I feel like I still haven't gone that deep, because it's just so, I worked with rape survivors before, and I teach these women how to take their power back, and how even when a man rapes you, he can never actually hurt you, because you as a woman have all the power, because your womb is the most powerful powerhouse in existence. So if you want to learn more about transmutation, read my book, the Sex Priestess Manual. It's one of my big books, and you can dive into that. Also, Sex Magic Evolution, just to remember who you are. So when you're dealing with a warlock, you will lose some of your light as a woman, yes. you will be less beautiful, less happy, less alive. You're gonna feel a shift. It's gonna feel icky. This is reversible though. Again, a man can never truly affect a woman forever. This is reversible, and not only reversible, you can actually, even if a warlock tries to take my energy, and for a little bit it seems like he managed to do it, I have the power not only to take it back, but to take it back 10 times fold, because because he took from me, his soul already gave him the permission to take everything from him. Now, this is not a manipulation or an evil thing to do. This is women liberating themselves from evil. This is women finding their power and not being food for demonic entities. And this is true for all humans, by the way. This specific video is about the male warlocks and energy vampires. But there are women energy vampires, not as many as you think, actually. Not as many women. The shadow women, shadow feminine women in their toxic energy actually work in very different ways. But we will talk about this in another video if you want. So this is reversible, like I said. They can take and steal your light, my sister, but not all of it and not forever. So you can, in fact, as I teach my sex priestesses in my sex priestess program, use any sexual trauma against them, not only harnessing your power back, but also hurting him in return. And you don't even have to consciously, I want to hurt him. I want him to suffer. No. We don't even have to do that, because the universe will take care of that. That's that, you can call it karma, you can call it whatever, but it's deeper than karma. It's just energetics. The universe will take care of that. You just take back what's yours, transmute it, and bring back life into yourself, into your womb, and into the divine mother in this world, because we are here to birth light into the world, okay? Sex should be a bonding, sacred ritual, but energy vampires will use it as a binding ritual. Women can use this as well, but now we are talking about male vampires. They will prefer anal sex many times because this is a way to harvest life force, and this is why most dark magic rituals performed by the dark wizards on women and children include anal sex. Anal sex can be also a beautiful and healing thing, as I write in my book, The Sex Magic Evolution. But when done with this intention, it can be so harmful and cause deep pain, as well as shame and unique trauma codes that can also affect one's bloodline. That is why the dark wizards know this and use sex magic in such baneful ways, along with trauma and physical and mental torture. One example is when a man will use a mirror during anal sex and ask you to look into the mirror. Sex can be used as a binding ritual, especially since we women bond through intimacy and oxytocin. Another way is semen consumption. Do not consume semen that you do not fully trust and that is fully clean in every possible way. It will affect your throat chakra most and your voice and expression. It is the life force of a man, and if you consume it, you will be affected by it for a very long time. This will attach your energy to him or any energy attachment that he has. Watch my videos on deep throat. I have 2 videos about that. Also, pregnancy is a powerful binding spell, so beware of who you are sleeping with. When semen creates life within you, his DNA is there forever. Now, some warlocks will like to spit in a woman's mouth in the moment of orgasm, or even feed her their blood in extreme cases. I want to remind you that if a woman is in her power, she can transmute any energy, even the most vile, toxic, dark energy. You always have the power, sister. All right, let's talk about narcs right now and demonic attachments. I know this is a long video, guys. Thank you. Good job for watching so far. Now, let's talk about narcs for a minute. Every narc is a narcissist, just to be clear. Every narc is also attached to a demonic entity. And some people on earth are pure demons. I have seen it. It's real. Some people have no soul anymore. I know some spiritual people won't believe me. It's like, no, everyone has a soul. I don't agree. Absolutely not. Because I can see people's energy fields. I've seen it since I was a kid. And I'm telling you, some people do not have a soul. It's very sad, but it's true. Now, here's what you need to understand about why this is happening on such a massive scale right now in our collective. When a narcissist is a child, there is often a rupture in their psyche and in their energy field. That fracture creates an opening. and a lower entity enters through it. It can happen in a second, really. And it's deepening and expanding that wound in that boy. These entities are predatory by nature. They seek to take, feed upon, and harvest energy from others. That is why a narcissistic personality becomes a match for them. They feed on emotional distress, confusion, doubt, trauma, and fear. Excuse me, guys. Let me have a sip of water. All right. And this is not, and this happens a lot when I talk about demonic entities. They try to they try to stop me from talking. They can never stop me from talking. Who are they kidding? So, and this is not only happening to individuals. It is happening collectively in our collective consciousness. Many people believe we are living through a time when darkness is becoming more visible, while those devoted to healing and service are doing everything that they can to support humanity's liberation. So we got the light forces, we got the dark forces happening. I'm simplifying it right now. And this shit's real. There is a light war going on. There is a war on human consciousness. I've been speaking about this on my YouTube channel for years. Again, you can dive into, I have hundreds of videos on my YouTube channel. You can dive into so many topics I've been talking about in this war on consciousness. It's insane. All right. So they will attach to people with light. Usually they want to attach to people with light because they will do anything to keep that light from expanding. But usually they cannot attach to people with higher light, especially if the person is taking care of themselves. So again, the importance of not eating animals and not participating in the blood sacrifice, because again, blood sacrifice lowers your frequency. You are attracted. You can any person that eats animals can attract any dark being in a second. Alcohol, having random sex with people, not living in integrity, lying all the time. When you lie, you lower your frequency. So this is my motto: is one word, is truth. I just want truth inside of me, outside of me, with the people around me. I want truth. Because that is the purest gift I can give myself and to the world. The world does not need more lies and manipulation and bullshit. There's enough bullshit going on everywhere. So again, they will attach to people with light. We talked about that. So the demonic entities who work through narcissists do not want light beings to help humanity awaken, because that means less food sources for them. So they will work through the narc to hurt the light being. That I talked about many times about the narcissist and the empath. You can call it empath. I call it light being, light worker. Many of the priestesses of today, although many priestesses who call themselves priestesses are really not priestesses. So you have to watch out today, because there's, again, a lot of bullshit. And if you please ask what I do, I can recommend, right? You could do whatever you want, but I recommend to always invite truth into your life. Teachers and whoever you listen to on YouTube, if you want to read a book or invite from the universe, just ask for truth. Ask for the purest truth. That's it. So you're not going to feed your mind with more BS and confuse yourself even more. So narcissists have been through trauma. All of them have been through, most humans have been through trauma, if not all of us, in one way or another. But the narcissist trauma is unhealed, and they haven't met their own demons yet. They have not faced their actual shadows. There are a lot of people in the spiritual community who I did all the shadow work, and I did ayahuasca, and I did all this stuff, and I faced my demons. No, I can see that they haven't. Many have done amazing fucking work. And sometimes I meet people, I just want to give them a medal, you are a fucking rock star and you're brave as fuck and you're doing the work. And sometimes I'm just like, fuck, dude, you haven't even started doing your work. And he thinks he's like, oh, I got this. I know everything. And I've done all the shadow work and blah, 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 whatever. So sorry, I went on a little rant here, as I always do. So these narcissists, they want the easy way out. Always. They never actually want to do the work. And they want to project their dark demons onto others, usually empaths. And that's where you will see a situation when a narcissist, will fucking destroy an empath's life and blame it on the empath. She did that to me. She was the bitch, and he basically destroyed her life. And I speak about my experience with my abuser. You can watch the video I did, how I attracted my abuser. I did it recently. And this is what happens, right? I gave it as an example so that other people can be inspired and know that there's nothing wrong with you. and you can rise above it and you can use it and transmute it and become a better human being. Even after an experience with a narcissist, which is horrific. It's a horrific experience, especially for an empath. So a narcissist will always thrive while the empath is depleted if they're in a relationship together. If it lasts long, especially, that's why you gotta leave before it takes away your life force. Because after the love bombing phase comes, the energy harvesting phase. And again, this is just an example of romantic relationships. This can also happen in other relationships. It can also happen with parents. It can happen with so-called best friends or bosses or things like that. So when we face our shadows, it is very hard. We go through an ego death, usually many times. People that actually do shadow work, like we know what death means. The narcissist will never want to go through that. They will never do actual shadow work. They can't. In their nature, they actually can't. They think that they're doing it sometimes, but they're not really. But once in a while, a demon like a narcissist will meet such a powerful empath that it will shatter his whole reality and cause him either to financially collapse or health collapse or something like that. Because again, if he would have faced his shadow, he could have liberated himself. He could have raised his frequency, but usually they will not do that. The narcs or the demonic entities that, inhabit them will always blame others, play the victim, and never take accountability ever. They're never going to take accountability. Sometimes they might come back and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I see what I did," but they don't actually take the real accountability and responsibility. They're not capable of it. They also feel so entitled, just like a demonic entity, to your light. They feel like you owe them something. They feel like, they see your light, they see your radiance, they see your love. Like, give it to me. Like, it's mine. Give it to me. It's very entitled. They will always blame the person who left them or saw through them. And that's a big one. That's always happens 100% of the time. As more people become aware of narcissistic behavior and patterns in our society, we have this conversation more and more. What was once hidden is becoming increasingly visible. When darkness is brought to the light, we are given a choice, and choice is power. The reason celibacy and discernment are so vital when it comes to sex is that they starve dark beings and narcissists from feeding on your energy. Unless you are an experienced sex priestess who knows how to transmute and harness dark energy, do not mess with that, please. These forces often seek the sexual energy of empaths, of light beings. When you remove yourself from this energy harvesting game, raising your frequency of your body, you starve them and protect your own life force. When you spend long periods of time grounded in your own energy, your discernment becomes much clearer. You become more sensitive to what feels aligned and what feels off. Dark entities, much like narcissists, do not always appear dark on the surface. They can seem kind, charming even, loving, and even extraordinary people. That is why discernment is so important. The ability to feel beyond appearances and sense the energy underneath is one of the greatest forms of protection you can develop. The only way to protect yourself is to know your power and always have a clean, pure body and vessel. A truly powerful woman will never eat animals. That's a given. She knows naturally that it weakens her and that it is not natural, honorable, or sacred to consume the flesh and blood of the mother's children, her children. All right, so if you are a man and you don't want to be an energy vampire, you are a man who actually likes women and wants to evolve with them. Here's what you can do. Number 1, be aware of the shadow part of you that seeks and wants to hurt and take from women. Every man has that part. And any part of you that believes in any way that women owe you something. Notice that. It's a very difficult shadow work to do because it's a very ugly part that most men cannot even handle to look at. But this is your responsibility to face it and truly bring it to the light. Number 2, cleanse your first 3 chakras, the first 3 lower chakras, so that the energy can flow up your heart and not down. Cleanse your body, ideally from all animal products, alcohol, processed foods, and white sugar. Also cleanse your energy so you can begin fresh from past sexual partners, pain, trauma, or stories that you have accumulated. Cut the cords from past lovers. I have a ritual you can do. It's on my YouTube. It's very old. It's from many years ago. How to cleanse, rituals to cleanse past lovers. I forgot the name of it, but you'll find it. I can also post it here. Hopefully I'll remember later. So, and you can also find a practitioner maybe to help you if you trust them, if they're really good at what they're doing. Make sure to find the right one who is also keeping their body clean, because you don't want to find a practitioner that eats animals themselves and then, what's the point? Number 3, begin connecting to your heart and true sexual power. Practice semen retention and stop watching porn. This is vital. I have a program that I take men through privately. It's called the God Man program. I've been doing it for years with men for 3 months to help you master semen retention and get your power back. It's not for everyone. Again, I don't work with everyone. It's only for really brave people who can handle my energy and the truth. Number 4, explore your beliefs and ideas about women, the feminine and her body. Be brave enough to be truly honest about how you view women. This is a hard one for most men. This is very difficult. And most men will not be able to face these demons inside themselves because they are very ugly. But this is so, so important to do. All right, so let's talk about some practical steps to reclaiming your power. For women who have had to deal with energy vampires, all right, this is specifically for women. Number 1, I'm going to repeat this my whole life. Cleanse your body ASAP. The most important thing you can do is stop consuming animals and animal products. Stop consuming death, trauma, suffering, and you will raise your frequency immediately. No animal products. Try to lower, try to not to have alcohol as well. Especially at this time if you're trying to cleanse your body. No alcohol. This is number 1. I can't. People try to do all the rest of the step while still eating animals, and they're never going to raise their frequency. You can't. You just can't. This is what aligns you the most with low frequency vampires. In the easiest way, you're consuming flesh and blood of a dead, suffering, traumatized being. It's so simple. I don't know why I have to explain it for so much, but I do. Your vessel is weak when you eat that, and it's in low vibration. So you are aligned with that, period. Number 2, cleanse your body from parasites. All right. Again, everyone who eats animal products has a lot of parasites, like the bad parasites. Parasites are literally demonic entities physically in your body. And also all of us have, because from the air, from, pollution, from the water sometimes, from so I constantly have something that cleanses me from parasites also, just in case. I put like a clove, I buy clove and I put a little bit in my smoothie every day just to and I have like a monthly cleanse of parasites, and I do a few days of that just to, again, I'm vegan, so I have way less parasites than meat eaters in my system, and usually will not come from the meat, or it's not going to be low frequency parasites. If I have parasites, they're not going to be that dangerous energetically and physically, but we're still human in this toxic world, and we have to take care of our bodies. So parasites and worms, like demons, which are mostly in animal products, want to take over your blood, especially around the spine. So we talked about Kundalini energy, that serpent-like river that's in your life force. And these are literal demons that are taking over the human mind and body. I'm not joking, guys. Most people have them. Once you stop consuming the flesh and blood of animals and detox, you will notice a difference. Now, number 3, explore your beliefs about men. This is very important. Explore your deep beliefs, even the ones in the shadows, about men and the masculine, and any stories that may align you with them. This is not your fault, but this is your responsibility to liberate yourself from and to really know yourself. I made a video called How I Attracted My Abuser, like I mentioned before, that will give you a great example, a small example of how we attract men like that, because we have something in our shadow that we're not aware of that attracts that. So in this world full of trauma, this is very easy and vital to do. I mean, maybe it's not easy, but it's very vital. Number 4, work with your shame and face all your unhealed shadows. Shame is a clear receptor for energy vampires. Shame is huge. They love women who feel shame. That's why the patriarchy have programmed shame into women for eons in so many ways. And again, these vampires will work with any shame that you have to get to you. Number 5, women are naturally more spiritual and connected to source than men. Once a woman walks her greatest sacred path, she becomes untouchable. And even if she is touched, she will be able to destroy and stop any dark forces just by being herself. The womb is the connection to source, which is the great mother, the eternal womb, as I call her. Now, men love to think logically, but women have the extra depth, okay? Logic is this big, and the extra depth of a woman is this big. So, men in patriarchy think that their logic is more powerful than women's emotions, and no, absolutely not. Its logic has such a small little window to look through, and the feminine can see through a much, much better window, like a larger window. And so when a woman is healed and empowered, she naturally knows this. She knows her power. No one can take that away from her or gaslight that away from her. She doesn't need logic or proof, right? We just know. Owning this nature of our sister is vital for the next step of human evolution. Owning our magic, so-called magic, okay? This is just who we are. This is who we are. When people ask me for logic and proof of my teaching, I laugh. I feel sorry for them because they see life through such a small, limited window. And in the future, we are heading towards a higher frequency where women's intuition is honored again. But for now, the women who are connected to source and mother will lead the way, even if it doesn't get us fame or recognition. I have already, accepted that long ago. So we do this because we know. I do this because I know. And I don't do this for the likes and share, although that helps me to spread the message of the mother. And trust me, my work is a struggle in this world, but I know why I'm doing this for. I have committed my life and my blood and everything to the Divine Mother and to truth. I am committed absolutely to truth. So some people will continue to choose paths rooted in fear, control, and separation. That is their choice, and they will continue walking that timeline. But if you choose freedom, if you choose not to be a source of energy for forces that thrive on fear and suffering, you must choose the highest path and everything that it entails. What you consume, how you live, your integrity, your discipline, your commitment to living with sacredness, honor, and truth. Unless we learn to remove ourselves from these dynamics, master ourselves, know ourselves fully, and become aware of our shadows and all dimensions of our being, we remain vulnerable. True liberation comes through self-awareness and conscious choice. No one can do that for you. We each must choose freedom. The challenge is that most people do not even know what true freedom means in the sacred sense of the word. But you are here, you are watching, and especially those who have been watching so far, and that means something. And we women who are leading the new earth submit to our mission. We don't submit to a man. We only accept men who will elevate our mission. This is what will help men return to their power and source, but only if they allow themselves to be humbled and listen to the Holy Spirit breathing through the awakened woman. The way to not be affected by any man at all is simple. Remember who you are, sister. A woman who actually knows her power is connected to her cycles, the sacred blood, her womb, has strong sisterhood, and knows her magic is literally untouchable, even by the darkest forces. Women were simply made to forget their power. But I am here to remind you who you are. So thank you for listening, guys. I hope this helped. If you have any questions, put it in the comment. I don't promise I will read them all, but I try. And again, my men's retreat, The Threshold, is open. This is a life-changing, this is a world-changing work, I promise you. No one else is doing this work. No one else has ever done this work except in the temple days with the sisters. And even then, because now I have to do this work for the modern men, which, men are in a very different energy and consciousness of when they were in the temple. And so this is only for very brave men. And so that's why you have to go through an interview, fill up the form, put as many details as you can. I read all the forms, and then I choose whoever men I want to do an interview with for this retreat. Another thing, the Sex Priestess initiation is still going on, but I'm kind of like putting a pause to it because I am exhausted and I have so much work to do with the men's retreat. And you can still contact me if you want to do the Sex Priestess initiation. I can't work with everyone at this moment because it's just a lot of things I need to put my focus on. I'm still trying to finish the next book. I've been promising you for a while. I know it's just, again, editing and writing is a lot of work. I don't use ChatGPT to write my books, as you know, so it's a lot of work, and I'm doing it kind of by myself mostly. I love you so much, and you can read my books if you want to support me too. Go to motherisrising.com. It supports me more if you can buy the book through my website, but you can also get it on Amazon. And if those of you who read my books, please leave me an Amazon review. It really helps me as a self-published author. And I love you so much. I am a priestess of the temple, and I will constantly pray and live and want to do everything I can to support the awakening of humanity. I love you all so much. Keep making magic. The threshold, where boys and men begin, where men meet their truth and are asked to rise, where comfort ends and men are forged, where the divine is met within, where illusion dies and men stand revealed. Join us for a 3-day immersive initiation for men who are ready to confront themselves, reclaim their power and shadow, and step into grounded, embodied masculinity. Not therapy, not a festival, not a performance. This is a threshold. Please subscribe, like, and share so I can continue making these videos and share the work of the temple. And may the goddess bless you all.